So what's up, folks? Welcome to another version of My Two Pennies. This is your boy Demasi. I am gonna get on a kind of funny topic today, and I'm gonna see where this lands. I'm gonna throw this out here and see where it go, man. I guess I need to start by saying that this is not in any way to create anything, any animosity, nothing like that. Matter of fact, I'm really trying to do the furthest thing from it right now, you know. But I got some knowledge that I've acquired over the years that I would like to share with you guys today. Alright, goes a little something like this. Forgive me, guys, I had to make notes because I wanted to make sure that I had everything for you. Alright, hopefully I don't skip over anything in this process. Y'all just bear with me. First off, too, let me say that this topic today is really for my friends and family. The people that know and understand me best, and sometimes don't have the time to just sit and listen, but maybe through these videos you'll be able to, on your own time, sit back and just check out what I'm saying, man. I intend on leading nobody astray. I'm only here to drop information that I've discovered over the years and maybe give some people a different aspect on this thing we call reality and life. You know what I mean? So anyway, I entitled this one How It Might Have Begun. So growing up, there was a book that my mother's mother owned. Alright? And my mother's mother said that her mother had given it to her. Alright, well, this ain't like any book. It was a Bible. Right? A big white Bible that sort of reminded me of my father's mother's Bible. You know? Y'all keep up. So she was Catholic. However, the stories were sometimes a little different, and at other times more elaborate. I mean, I remember being a kid and reading the remaining parts of what seemed to only be shrouded in my father's mother's Bible. It was like this one story, for example, right? There was a story that spoke about all of God's people journeying from one side of the continent to the other, you know, long story short. And along this journey, some of God's people began to have these blemishes on their skin. You know, it was like pale blotches, you know, and in this pale blotch you would get this blonde hair, you know, or sometimes reddish hair, and inside that blotch it could become inflamed, and it may spread, you know, and it may go away. Right? Alright, so sometimes it would spread all over the body, and it would get on the face, and you get these bulbous, pussy sores and stuff, and it could lock up your hands and deform you and whatnot. It'll make your skin go from black to pale. We call it vitiligo today. So y'all know where I'm going with this, right? And this is in no means to spread nothing negative. It's just hit me up. Alright, so anyway, it was some nasty stuff. And apparently this scared the people, and it caused them to ask the priest or the leader to do something about it, right? So they decided to place anyone who became infected, you know, with this disease that they thought was a curse. Remember this now. You know, they decided to place anyone who became infected outside the city in these tents, where they would be monitored for a set period of time. All right. Now, understand that the people believed that this was a curse on them by the Almighty. All right. And it's like we did something bad. We had to do something bad. why would this be happening? You know, we always need an answer, you know, to these questions we have. And the person who comes up with the best answer for the people is usually the person that the people will choose to be a leader. You get what I'm saying? If that makes sense, you know. Alright, so anyway, if the infected people's problems worsen, then, you know, they didn't want them to come back into their rankings because they was afraid this was a curse. Alright, so they sent them away, and where they ended up sending them to was, I'll never forget it, it's called the Caucasus Mountains, and it sits in the hillsides of Ethiopia. Right? And you actually had to go and figure this stuff out, because when I first had read that, I didn't understand what the Caucasus Mountain was or any of that stuff, but later on my mother made me read King James Concordance, and that got me into the whole concordance thing. I didn't even know they had a dictionary for a Bible, but it makes sense, you know, why wouldn't it? But anyway, by reading this concordance, and later on, you know, I followed Judaism for a while, and not really like followed, but like I didn't do the worships and the praying and all that stuff, but I read it. And I also found their versions of concordances, and I, you know, went back and forth on that. Of course, I read the English version, but it had the Hebrew version next to it. Anyway, and I've done that with a lot of different religions, you know, religious texts. I read it all because I don't believe in putting my head in the dirt. You know what I mean? I got to figure it out. And if this is my family and friends that's watching this, man, y'all already know me. I got to figure it out. I'm not going to sit here and be scared of something. I got to figure out, why is this happening? So that maybe I have a fighting chance, and not allowing it to affect me the way that it's affecting the ones that I see it's affecting adversely. Because it works both ways, guys. It helps and it hurts. It depends on what, you know, they say the glass half empty is half full, right? Alright, so anyway, let me get back to my story, right? I can get off topic sometimes, y'all know that. Alright, so where were we? I was saying that, and that's why I made my points. You get it? Okay, so if the infected problem if the infected people's problems worsen, then they would send these people to a place called the Caucasus Mountains, which were located up in the hillsides of Ethiopia, which is today known as Europe. And the Caucasus Mountains are still there. You can go check that stuff out for yourself. And it's believed that this is where the Caucasian race came from, and a lot of different religious sects started there in the Caucasus Mountains and came out of there and clashed with other sects, if that makes sense to you, you know. But anyway, so they sent them up to the Caucasus Mountains, and there they were guarded by a flaming sword, never to be allowed back into civilization, which is almost like the Adam and Eve story. You know, they kind of understood stuff and they got kicked out, blah blah blah. It's a lot of different interpretations that I've heard and read throughout time. But anyway, just saying. Now, however, if a child were born with only pale skin and no other afflictions, right? Meaning they had all pale skin, they had maybe reddish hair, or they had blonde hair, but there was nothing that looked like it was bad on them. They were just like a dark-skinned child. They just were not dark-skinned, which was unique, isn't it? Like kind of like seeing an albino leopard or something like that, right? So anyway, they would consider these children blessed or clean, preferably blessed, because I assume, you know, I'm presuming that was because they would not suffer the afflictions of the others, you know. Like, in other words, they're not going to get these big bulbous lesions and all this crazy stuff, because maybe by that time they discovered that nothing happens to these. See? Might have to keep them out of certain conditions a little bit, but they can be here with us. We don't have to get rid of our brothers and sisters and nieces and aunties and nephews and whatever else, right? Okay. So, okay. Most of us know by now what this is, right? And what that is. And believe it or not, I was around 7 to 8 years old when I began to learn this. my mother did not believe in forcing me into a religion, right? I had a Baptist Pentecostal grandmother. I had a Catholic grandmother. I had a Jehovah's Witness as a grandfather, and he was remarried, so his wife was Jehovah's Witness. And I had a grandfather whose religion I'm still not truly aware of, what he actually believed in. I know he was from Nassau, he's Bahamian, and he passed away some time ago, so I'll probably never know that one, right? Anyways, if any of you are wondering, yes, this is a King James version of a Bible that I read, right? That story made me wonder as I got older. It's all of this racism an extension of that initial separation that was said to have occurred? I mean, my grandmother's Bible was only explaining. It was only explaining the start of leprosy and the human evolution. That's all it was doing. And this causes what we call albinism, right? Vitiligo and many other things to a species. We noticed today, but back then, according to my mother's book, they did not. They had no clue. It scared them. Much the same way that they've done videos that women are, they've had a dark-skinned woman who's going through vitiligo, and her skin is literally, the pigment is peeling away and she's turning pale. She's got black hair, she's got blonde hair. And they'll sit her next to someone else getting their nails done, and y'all can look on YouTube and find this stuff, man. And some people are cool with that. Some people are scared crapless because they don't know if, they don't even want to sit in the chair behind a person. Because they don't know if they're going to get this. They don't know what it is. Their ignorance. See, we're scared. When we don't understand something, we get scared. And when we get scared, we do some illogical, irrational things. You know what I mean? It just happens. And so we have to be aware. We got to learn. We have to have knowledge. Because if you don't have knowledge of what's going on around you, how are you going to really succeed? Your whole life is in fear, man. But anyway, let me get back to my story again, right? I want to get to our course. And I don't really want to edit this. I kind of want to get it to you just how I'm making it. We'll see. So anyway, we know what causes albinism. Let me see. Where was I? Explaining the start of leprosy and the human evolution. This causes what we call albinism, vitiligo, and many other things to a species. We know this today, but back then, according to my mother's book, they did not. It scared them the same way that people get scared today. Like when I said, to be put away in a cold climate, away from the sun, and murdered or worse if you tried to go home. This is your people, after all. It's your people. And it took time for someone to go up there and bring you back. Then you come back and you see all the wonderful things that they have. It's not to say, I didn't do some stuff up there. You didn't try and create a life for yourselves up there. Everybody wasn't so disabled that they couldn't do something for themselves. It's just that you were showing these symptoms of something that could be contagious and spread, and they didn't know what to do about it, so they panicked and pushed you aside into tents. And if you worsened, they got rid of you. They didn't kill you. You were brothers and sisters and cousins and nieces and nephews, but they would. You come back and you see all the wonderful things they've done, the science and technology, the cultures and more, and the best excuse you got is it was a misunderstanding. Our bad. We're sorry. And then for those who were never afflicted, do you think they looked at the people the same? Do you think that the darker skinned people that never went through these things, that never had to be pushed aside, and all of this stuff that happened to them, you think they actually looked at them the same? Some people looked at them with regret, remorse, sorrow, sympathy, and then others looked at them like, y'all so different, your personality's different, your ways are different, your religions are different, everything is different, and you brought this to us, and it's changing our culture, perhaps. These are my statements, not the Bible's. I'm just kind of iterating at this point, anyway. But let's get back to the thing and get that over with first, right? Maybe I can iterate some more. But this is how I'm used to talking. Y'all know that, man. Anyway, so these people are back, and I mean, they missed out on generations. So what do you have in your homeland? Obviously, we did not get here for nothing. There has to be a better reason for wanting to treat everyone who does not look like you different. Besides they're just evil stuff. I mean, today I hear black folks say, we're the gods because we came first. And it just kind of solidifies my understanding. Perhaps it's time to truly make amends. Maybe this is like one of those relationships where you really love each other, but someone cheated, So the cheated on cheats, but the cheated on doesn't really get over it. Although they've already done the same thing. You cheated, too. Look, I could not tell you whether this story was the whole truth and nothing but the truth. I was not there. I do know that this book does exist, and I know if this book exists, then at one time it was very, very important. Why this story was taken out? We could talk about my 2 pennies on that one later. But I really wish it would have stayed. Like, maybe we would be a lot different towards each other if we all understood this little bit of information. It really helped me to look at the other so-called races differently. Races. Divisions differently. Knowing something like this helped me to understand that maybe we're all brothers and sisters, and someone just doesn't want us to know it. And I don't know about you, but knowing that, or feeling like someone may not want me to know that, it makes me want to treat every person like my brother, auntie, mother, sister, niece, cousin, nephew, bestest friend, myself. Division does help when there's nothing else, but division also creates a lot of animosity. Anyway, that's my 2 pennies on the situation, man. I just wanted to get that one out there. I felt like I should. And it's been a kind of hard thing to do because it's a touchy topic, man, and I know it. And I'm not trying to push anybody out of their religions or their total belief structure, but I am trying to say, like, sometimes we gotta use the thing that our Creator gave us, all of it, and really think about it, rationalize the situation, and figure out that let the bus go by right now. We got to figure out that it might be a lot more to the story than what the people who explain it to us tells us. Anyway, like I said, my 2 pennies for the day, man. I love you guys. Peace.